Hi, welcome to Resilience Brilliance, where we speak about resilience journeys and share tips and tricks on how to build that resilience muscle, which is so important to navigate life's turbulence. I'm Jena Taylor, resilience strategist and founder of Resilience Brilliance programs and podcast. Every month I offer free live training on resilience with an open Q&A session. Sign up with the link in the show notes. My show was born out of my own story of survival. After a traumatic brain injury, I couldn't walk, talk, or even remember. I had to start from scratch. Within months, I fought my way back, first to independence, then to writing copy for IBM Watson Health, and eventually rebuilding a six-figure career. My mantra became reclaim my life, and it is at the heart of everything I do. Resilience Brilliance is for anyone struggling with adversity, burnout, or the weight of life's challenges, especially women and leaders juggling the sandwich generation, caring for both aging parents and adult children. This show delivers inspiring stories, practical tools, and expert insight so you can overcome, rebuild, and reclaim your own life with heart, humility, and humor. Today, I'm honored to introduce Tiffany Kellogg, the Sock It to 'em success strategist. Since 2005, Tiffany has been revolutionizing entrepreneurs' paths, unlocking greater wealth, freedom, and joy. And she is the creator of Tiffany's, Epiphanies inspired by Tiffany. And she is known for her signature socks, over 400 pairs, a charming Southern accent, and her unique ability to inspire and empower others. Whether delivering dynamic keynote presentations, training locally and globally or virtually, writing her next book, or leading her more abundant entrepreneur community, Tiffany loves helping people create the life they desire. Welcome to the show, Tiffany. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
It is so great and refreshing to have you on the show. And I know it's been a struggle for us to coordinate and get all the details, but here we are and we're doing this. And I thank you again for being on the show and spending time with us. And today we're going to talk about a couple of different things because Tiffany is so dynamic. She's involved in a lot of different things. And the connection to resilience is going to be fascinating. So stay tuned. But first, please tell us a little bit about your resilience journey and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I, like so many entrepreneurs, probably did not set up and think, okay, yes, I'm starting my first lemonade stand and we're going to turn that to a lemonade truck. And here's my lemonade empire that I started when I was 5. Though, interestingly enough, in looking back, there were certainly some entrepreneurial businesses along the way. I was a babysitter. I did, sell by trade basketball cards and other things. But by the time I went to school, I was a biology major. I wanted to do genetic research and genetic engineering, and that was my intention. But, things kind of changed, and I'm like, you know what? Nope, business major I am. So I got my business degree, got out of school, and then in March of 2003, two things happened dramatically impacting me being here today. The first, that first job that I had, that, salary paid, vacation, all of that cool stuff that you didn't get as a kid. Like, I finally got that job, and the board of directors got done with some restructuring of the organization. And guess whose position was no longer part of the organization? Yeah. Like so many people, it was, hey, severance package or a demotion. Which one do you want? And the other thing that happened that month, my mom, who had been battling with breast cancer for the previous 17 months, she was given a terminal diagnosis, maybe a couple weeks left to live. And so I took the severance package. And it was brilliant because it gave me the opportunity to spend each and every day with my mom. And you know how they say some people hold on? So she did. Instead of a couple of days or weeks, she actually held on for several months. And we threw this huge bash for her 47th birthday. So we had this big party. All of her friends, everybody came over and we had this huge party. And it's a big birthday because I'm 46. I turn 47 next month. So you want to talk about messing with your mind a little bit? Like, that's a whole different story for another time. But so like we had that amazing party. got to spend that time with her, and she passed a couple of days later. And I was kind of left with, okay, so I've lost my mom, my best friend. I've lost that job. What am I going to do with my life? And I picked up and I moved to Florida. And what I found is just because you have a business doesn't mean you have any business. And so I cold called. I spent my next 2 years cold calling. I'm good at it and hate doing it. But then I got a phone call, somebody in the phone book, hey, you want to come to this networking group? And I like walked into this room and it's like the clouds parted, the sun came through. Ah! And like all of a sudden, like there's a room full of people to pass me referrals. And I fell in love with referrals and networking to help me grow my promotional products business. And as I was working on growing that, I actually found out that I enjoyed speaking when I thought I was afraid to speak in public my entire life, and fell in love with speaking. And 2008, I went full-time professional speaker and working with entrepreneurs to help them grow their business and have fun while they're doing that. So much so in 2017, I created the Entrepreneur's Guide to More Free Time program. This year we put the book to go along with the program, but my vision, my life, my purpose is, look, we don't know how much time we have. We don't know what's going to happen. And let's make the most of each and every single day as we work towards creating the life that we desire.
That's so true. And we were talking behind the scenes about death and losing people, and there's nothing like thinking about the end of your life or not having any time left, and or you realize, you think that it's never going to happen, and then your partner is gone, and then or your parent is gone, and you're like, that you don't get any more of those moments together, and you lost that time. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about time, because you specialize in freeing up time, and I don't know if that's a great segue, but I'll let you drive, because this is your episode, and we have so much to talk about. So I'm going to let you pick your topics, and if we can weave other things in as we go along.
Good place for us to start is this idea about time. But a lot of times people talk about time management. Like we have to manage our time. But it's not about the time. To me, it's much more about what is your priority in life. And so, Jenna, as you think about your life, what are some of the main things that you want to make priority? What are those things that matter most for you?
Oh, I mean, I, I have a lot of personal goals that I
Yeah.
want to make. In fact, getting this show launched was one of these things that was very important to me. It started in 19, and it it wasn't the right subject matter. I didn't like it. And then my longtime partner died, and that took me into survival mode again. And so, it took me a while to get this back together. And then when it came to me, it was resilience. That was what I was going to talk about. And I totally did a whole career change. And I built this product and these programs, and getting this podcast out, and everything was easy once I decided it was resilience. And then I'm like, it's going to be called Resilience Brilliance. So that's something that was very important to me. And I just achieved that. And then, of course, traveling and playing tennis, and enjoying life. As a brain injury survivor, every day for me is a gift. I've been on this planet probably 8 years longer than I could have been. And so every day to me is a gift, and I make the most of every day.
Love it, love it, love it. And I love the fact that you're like, okay, here's what I want. Here's the priorities. How do I make every day a gift? And I think that if more people looked at living their life in how do I live where I love every day? Because it's so often I talk to entrepreneurs, I talk to people in general, and it's just, I'm grinding till the weekend, or I'm grinding till the holidays, or I'm grinding till and I'm like, why is our goal to live our life in such a way that we're working to work really hard so we don't have to work? Like how my goal is, and it's been great because I'm on point this week, is like I want every night to feel like a Friday night, even if it's like last night. I feel like that's how chill I am. That's the space that I'm in. That I feel like it's a Friday night because things are in the order that they need to be in. That even though it's a Wednesday, and I was very well scheduled with plenty of Zoom calls today, and this is past my normal boundary, when we're recording, I'm usually like inside this time, but holiday times, things get a little crazy. We have a little bit more fun with it. So when it comes to thinking about our time, and it's really not about the time, it is about the priority. So I love the fact that it's a priority of, okay, we want to travel, want to work on the podcast, want to have time to play tennis, because too often it's those things that get put in last. And so for me, when I think about what is it that we want in our life, and this is where sometimes it is about, the resilience brilliance and how do we, deal. And sometimes it's about, let me put it in there so it doesn't become a deal. So if you look at my calendar, Monday through Friday, I have morning routine is on my calendar from 5 to 10 a.m. every morning. Now, that is where I am at a mature time in my business. If you are somebody that's brand new in your business, I would not say start your day at 10. But I started my business when I was 23. Now that I'm 46, man, I just figured I've been doing half of my year as an entrepreneur, my life. Wow, I just figured that out. Now it's going to be more than half of my life. But so I'm not working the hours that I did back in the day when I first started, but I've got that there and protected because it's a priority. And so I think when we figure out, okay, what are the things that we need that feed into us, that help us feel and act our best. I know that when I do yoga in the morning, my mind is better all day. My energy is higher. You would think counterintuitive, don't work out because it take your energy, but you work out and you get more energy. And it's figuring out those things that put you in the best position as well as puts your mindset into the right place. And I find that if I can take amazing care of myself, then I don't have to lean on me being ready for the resilience of it because I'm building me up to where I can put up with more.
Right. Yeah, your bandwidth is you're in a
Mhm.
better state of mind, your mindset is healthier, you're not frantic, and there's more balance, and when you have more balance, then you're not gonna get off kilter, and when you get off kilter, then you have to figure out how to build that resilience.
Yes. And it's much easier just not to get off kilter. I mean, that's easier said than done, but
But you're gonna give us some tips today. Something tells me we're gonna be wiser when we get done with this.
that is the hope. That is the hope. So tell me, what do you find when you're talking to people is one of their biggest complaints when it comes to time?
One of the things I see people struggling with schedules control them as opposed to them controlling schedules, and people who do work the traditional job have a harder constraint because of the whole job trade, right? We're
Right.
going to give you so many hours and we're going to give you a paycheck every week or every pay period, and we're going to give you 401 and all these other benefits that you and I and other entrepreneurs like us we don't have. So we don't have that trade time and money situation. And so it's a little bit more difficult for those job people with a traditional job, and they're the ones that have more burnout because they do have a finite schedule. They where if they don't show up, if they don't have some flexibility, even if they're in a business, a company that doesn't promote and foster taking care of themselves. And we are in a society right now where it is costing $1.6 trillion a year to burn out and employee disengagement. So these companies that offer this trade for time, they've got to change. They have to allow employees to have that me time in the morning so that they can do the things that they need to do to keep their fuel tank healthy and raring to go so they can show up and do really their best job for the company. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
the answer.
Good. And it is interesting on, there's this 9 to 5 versus the entrepreneurial spirit. The 9 to 5 is like, yes, it is set up for the burnout and you have to, figure out how do you do the things. Though the 9 to 5ers, I think, have it a little bit easier in that they can leave the job at the office a little bit versus the entrepreneurs are like, I'm gonna work all the time. And I think that a big key is just figuring, okay, where are the things that matter the most? How do I get those in the calendar first? And just because the job or the business is the important one that pays the bills doesn't mean we can't play around with tweaking and how does it go in there. And I think it's big about figuring out what are your goals? What are the things that are most important? And how do we find the life that supports that? I am an early bird person. Like, I am not a night owl. Some people talk, "Oh, I'll stay up late." I'm like, I need to go to bed way earlier, like early. Like when the time changes at night and it gets super dark, super early, I'm like, yay. I
Me
can,
too. I
yeah.
can't wait. But here, I moved to a state where we don't change time. We're on standard time year round. And I'm like, yay, this is awesome. Until you all change your clocks and all my meetings get shifted.
But nothing's changed.
My world didn't change, but I love it because you know what? It doesn't mess with my circadian rhythm and it doesn't artificially change the time. And I don't have that lagging or the dragging, whatever, the daylight savings does. And so, yes, I love to meet another fellow hibernator.
Yes, yes. I'm like, hibernation, yes, please. People laugh. And I'm like, because I'm freezing. And they're like, don't you live in Florida? And I'm like, yes. And I'm freezing. So please understand why I live in Florida. Because these people where they're talking in Celsius, I'm like, no, 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 no. That will, no, no. Um, but it is about figuring out what works best for you. And what I love about this conversation is there's not one size fits all. Humans, some of us are meant to be early birds. Some of us are meant to be night owls. We needed centuries in the evening. We needed people to get the day going. And that's why there's so many different folks. And just because it's right for one doesn't mean it's right for the other. And that's what I love about all of the time tips, because sometimes people are like, here's the 27-step thing that you have to do, and if you miss 20, step number 2A5, then everything's going to be screwed up. And I just feel like that's too much. Too much. I am big on like one thing make a difference. One little thing here make a difference. Like, what are the tweaks? I think we're looking for the magic wand and the magic answer. And sometimes it's just, what are those little tweaks that work for us? Because,
Right.
like, what do you feel is one thing that sucks your time that doesn't light you up?
Email.
Okay. All right. So then it's like, if email sucks your time, it doesn't light you up. Number one. So I do have a little online program called Escape from Email Hell. So I will definitely hook you up with that. So it could be, let's have you do a system that helps. I'm currently checking out an AI actually that is supposed to streamline your email. Like, it puts it into different categories and learns to write for you. I'm playing
Yes.
with that one.
I checked into that a couple of months ago and then it wasn't as easy as the article said, so I abandoned it. And so when you nail it, let me know.
Okay, because I'm testing one currently, because
Okay.
I'm pretty good with my emails, but my thought is I'm gonna get AI to really master my emails, because I think it was like, I don't know, 253, $500 a year, whatever. I'm like, if I can get the AI taught to do me pretty good, and then I can hire somebody for less than an hour a day to be the personal touch of me. So I'm combining, let's get a good system going, get AI to help me narrow it down, and pay a human to do it. And then it's going to cost me, 100, $200 a week max to have somebody to do all my email for me. Or if you don't want to hire somebody, like, I don't want to do it at all. Some people are like, okay, let me just get the AI and I will check it for 30 minutes a day. But there's so many options nowadays. And I think that people get very stuck on, how do I do it all? And we only have so much time. We can get more money, but we can't get more time. So how do we find those people to help get it done?
Well, with technology being what it is and it's accelerating so quickly, I mean, I got to tell you a funny little anecdote. When I was a child, I was very melancholy at one day, and my mom was like, "Jennifer, what's the matter?" I'm like, "Woe is me, Mom. You had all the inventions in your life. You had the bathroom inside the house. You had the phone. You had, TV." She's like, "Oh, sweetheart, there will be inventions. Don't you worry." I was like 7 or 8 years old and I was so concerned. All the inventions were over. And now look at technology. Isn't that a funny joke on me as a little kid? But we have all this technology and we have to use automations in whatever we do because that's a great way to shrink time, right?
If you're not using automation in your business, your competitors are. And some people talk about, well, isn't this going to get rid of jobs? And so did the printing press, y'all, and the gin. Like, I mean, yes, that's how it goes, but we would still be back in the farms if not for the plow. Like, it's these inventions that get us an opportunity. And I'm not saying that, yes, it is going to take away jobs, but I can't get my AI.
Will also invent it will
Right.
also invent jobs, new jobs that we don't have. I mean, it's the same thing with computers. When they brought in the PC, right? Oh, it's going to take jobs away. Well, it may have, but then we built how many more new jobs because of this invention?
More people hiring right now, like that are just so got somebody send them to me in a plethora of different fields. Like there is work out there. Now, maybe it's getting rid of this job, but let's get something better. Come on, y'all. Let's play.
Do you want to talk about your life filtering decision?
Yeah, yeah, because I think sometimes in our world, it's very easy for people to have all of these things and like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And eventually we're going to run out of time to do stuff. And so I highly recommend that people come up with what are your life filtering questions. And so to me, these are 2, 3, 4 questions that you can use to say, is this something that I want in my life? And so for quite a while, my first two have been, does this make me money? Is this fun? Because on my wall over here, I've got time, money, and fun. Because that's what I create for people. And I have to, have a little bit of fun over here with one of my books and Grogu, who's very much in the holiday spirits. Um, but so I'm all about like, let's have fun, let's make money. And so those are my two questions that I've been using, but really I felt that was missing something. And so I recently added in this year, I filled out and I feel much better now with my questions. Will future Tiffany appreciate this? Because Tiffany never, like, I don't ever, it is not fun, nor do I make money when I unload the dishwasher. But future Tiffany does appreciate it when I've unloaded the dishwasher the night before. This Tiffany doesn't love, like, let's work out to do this, but future Tiffany appreciates being able to, stretch and pull my dress up without needing help to zip it. Women problems.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great perspective. That's a small little shift. And it's not even a future like 5, 10 years from now. It's like the dishwasher example is that's tomorrow morning. I don't have to start my day with unloading to, I can't pull out the cup out of the dishwasher and not unload the dishwasher. Then I've got guilt. And then it's like, my morning's not right. There's something for coffee drinkers. There's something really special about just going and getting that cup of coffee and enjoying that cup of coffee and not having anything break that sacred space and time.
Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference.
Yeah, and the example that we just gave is that's not a hard decision. It's not a hard sacrifice, and it has a short because a lot of people in this world have short term
Um, instant
gratification. Yes.
gratification.
They want it now, right? So this one actually satisfies those people who need immediate future. Jena might not be alive, so I'm going to eat, this big chocolate piece of cake today or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And if we realize that, because I did not realize until last year that I was totally living in my mom's story of I don't know that I'm going to live past 47. So it was only last year that I really got in touch with the fact that I think I was planning on not, I wasn't planning beyond, and now I am. So it's been a different way. I just never realized that I had taken on her story.
Sure. Well, it would be your subconscious would have such a hard time not
Yeah, and
because
the
it
fact
was
that
such a
my sister-in-law died when she was 44. Now she died in 2019, so it's more recent, but she died at 44. My mom died at 47. So yeah, there was all kinds of stories playing around in my brain on that.
mhm. Yes. Well, I'm glad you found a way to get rid of that story.
Yeah. And now it's like, how much time can we have to do all the fun things? Because I'm big on how can we work and play? How do we put the two together anytime that we can? Because I think sometimes people try and segregate it. And if we can do work and play at the same time, why not?
Right. And you know what? The funny thing is, I'm not a big exercise girl, but I'm an athlete. And I disguise my exercise as play. I play golf. I play tennis. I mean, I do walk, but I walk the dogs. So there's joy in taking the dogs out for the walk. But I love to play tennis because it's fun and it's a really great cardio. And it allows me to, take a lot of angst out on that little yellow ball and smack it around the court for a couple of hours. And I feel great afterwards. But to go to the gym, I don't have the same affinity at all, right? That's drudgery for me. So for me, I have to gamify things.
I get you 100%. Let's have fun.
Right. I mean, life is too short. We need to be fun and serious, but actually it's just balance. We just, I'm a big supporter of balance. And you, your services help people provide balance to their lives. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think that, we have to figure out what matters most for us. What is it that we want to do? And then kind of figuring, okay, what are those key priorities? What are the hours that I want to work in my business? What are the hours that I want to work on my spirituality? What are the hours that I want to work on my relationship? And really determining where do you want to invest that time, energy, and effort, and then scheduling it. I know some people laugh at me, but I'm like, yes, I put fun stuff in the calendar. Like I put veg on the couch time in the calendar too, because we have to find that trade-off. And I'm a big believer in, if you love doing something, like if yard work lights you up, more power to you. That to me is drudgery. And I would much rather pay somebody to do the yard work and let me do the things that I love to do. And nowadays, like, I'm not a huge fan. Oh my gosh, you can go broke ordering food online because, like, sometimes I'll look and I'm like, it's like 3 times more expensive. Like, I'm really good on it figuring out Uber Eats where I can get it cheaper delivered from Uber Eats than if I went to the restaurant. Like, I'm kind of finagle and frugal in that way. But if I order the groceries, like Walmart Plus, it's free delivery on the groceries as long as I order $35 worth. I pay a couple dollars in tip, but I spend less because I'm not going, so there's no impulse purchases, and I buy less crap food because it's kinda like, "No, I don't need those vanilla wafers. No, I don't need the ice cream. No," I feel bad, so I'm like, "Okay, I'm not getting all of that," and I'm sticking to my list, and so some people are like, "Well, doesn't it cost you more?" Yeah, it costs me $3 to $5 more. I'm just gonna get a basic order of groceries, but I probably spend $50 less because I didn't go to the store because I never go, and it was delivered to my door. So it took me 5, 10 minutes to do the order. I paid $5 more, and it saved me the hours plus the spending plus all of that. Isn't that a win?
It's a huge win. Huge one. Yes. I love grocery delivery. I used to have my deliveries where I live. There are the store I shop at doesn't come out here because we're in an enclave. But the stores that do shop or do deliver out here are not stores that I would frequent often. When I had it, twice a week they would deliver between 5 and 6 a.m. because like you, I'm an early bird. And you know what? I'd have my cup of coffee and then the delivery would come. It would be dark, and I would say wave and say thank you, and, and that help spread cheer early in the morning, positive, good messages to other people, bring in my groceries, and by 6 o'clock, I've had my cup of coffee and I've unloaded my groceries. Like, that's a huge win.
I was talking to one gentleman and he's like, "Oh, I spent all day yesterday because I had to run there, here, here." And I'm like, "You could have gotten all of that delivered, maybe paid $20 more, but it would have saved your whole Sunday."
Right, and you could have done fun things.
Yeah. Or sleep if you need to, or work if you need to catch up, or time with your kids, which for some people is fun, some people's not. It depends on their kids. That does vary. But like, there's so many things that we can be doing. And to me, I get it's different. If I'm going to go and it's going to cost me 5 times more and I'm not getting extra value, that's a very different conversation. But if I'm talking a few bucks for a few minutes, like, really, I think that we have to look at what we're trading our time for our money. Like, I always joke about and laugh at those TV shows like the hoarders, and I'm not these hoarders, the couponers. Like, they have massive amounts of stuff. I'm thinking hoarders because they look like they need to be on an episode because of all the coupons that they have. But they spend 40 hours a week to save and get free laundry detergent. And to me, that is not worth the time.
Right. Yes, and I often wonder if that isn't a form of addiction.
Yeah, totally. And I get that, like, if you've got 10 kids that you need to support, or if you're running the foster side of the church stuff, then yeah, that's your kind of job. That makes sense. But as a mom, yeah, that seems like you're just getting stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I think that comes to another question, and it's purpose. People need to have purpose and meaning to lead a fulfilling, enjoy their life.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people just fill their schedule so they have something to do, as opposed to like what you were suggesting, the life filtering decisions.
Hmm.
When we talked about this before we went on air, about 35,000 decisions a day we make.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to have like a benchmark. Is this in alignment with my values? Is this in alignment with my core value? Does this make sense? Is this a good trade of my time and effort when I could be doing this? And how can we stop ourselves from putting things into our schedule that doesn't mean anything to us or the people we love or serve?
Yeah.
There's so much busy work that is distracting. So many of us can um, relate to that squirrel effect. I catch myself, I'm like doing something. I'm like, I gotta hop into email to look something up. And then I get totally distracted. I'm like, oh, stop yourself. You just went down a hole. Now I have to go back to what I was doing. Oh, that's right. I was back in email to get that. So I have to hop back to the email. So it's so easy for us to get distracted, and we really have to pay attention to our focus. And when we do get distracted, jump back to our original task as soon as possible so we don't waste that time.
Yeah. Somewhere along the lines, we as humans became very proud of this mantle that we're wearing of multitasking. When the human brain cannot multitask, like it is impossible. It will task switch very fast, like tenths of a second, hundredths of a second, but it's task switching. It's not the same thing. It's going back and forth. And what happens is every time we do that, it's taking more energy from our brain. And we all think, oh yeah, I can talk on the phone or talk, play on the phone and talk to person. No, you can't. Like seriously, you can do one thing at a time. And so whether you're switching back and forth, which just takes so much more energy and you get less done, if we would stop multitasking and do one thing and then go to the next and then go to the next, we get so much more done. That's when people are like, when they're like, how many tabs do you have open? I've got a lot of tabs open right now because I'm doing something and I've got one, two, three. It's way too many for me. I've got 7 tabs open and that's like
You
massive.
don't want to see mine.
Because you're probably do you have tabs to coordinate all your tabs to coordinate your tabs?
I have tabs open because I don't remember to do things, so I keep them open. So it's a compensatory strategy for me. And then by the time I get to the tab, this is the best part. It's no longer applicable and I can close it. Too
Right.
late, didn't do that, or it doesn't, I'm not interested anymore. Oh, that doesn't appeal anymore. Like, no. And
It's a
then
big
if you
wall
accidentally close
there
them,
so
you're
you
like,
don't.
oh, that was meant to be.
Right, you're like, "Oh, all right, I meant to open it." Like, sometimes I'll be like, "Do you want me to put," if I'm on Zoom, "You want me to put this in the chat box or email it to you?" They're like, "Just put it in the chat box." And I'm like, "No, you do not want me to put it in the chat box. You ain't gonna do it. You need me to email you. Are you sure? Yeah, put it in the chat. All right. Who am I to judge
Yeah.
what works for you, but it ain't gonna work for you."
So then like I'll save the chat from a Zoom, and then I'll have all my Zoom chats
How
open,
many
and then if I accidentally close the Zoom chat, do you think I'm ever going to go back to that Zoom chat looking for the notes? No.
Never, ever, ever. It's just another, lost in space,
Yeah.
lost in Zoom
Right.
land.
Yeah. The ethernet.
Yes, yes.
So one of the other things we talked about is your women entrepreneurs living child free. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so have you ever heard of women of mommypreneur groups?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are plethora of groups out there for women entrepreneurs that have kids. I looked and there are zero for child-free women. So in my understanding of what child-free means is child-free are women that are celebrating and enjoying life without kids. Now, some of us like me are child-free by choice, others are child-free by circumstances and they just didn't in some way shape or form had kids. And so child-free is kind of that we're not moms but we're yay about it. There is childless communities, and those are people still mourning that they haven't had kids or are unable to. But I'm looking to connect with all those non-moms for a business women's group. And we're not really doing anything with the child-free part of it. It's just here's the group for child-free women. Because as business owners, we actually get picked on sometimes or questioned for our life decisions in a way that makes us feel not included. And think I don't think most people, there's some people that throw shade intentionally, but I would say like 98% of the population is just don't know about it. Like I didn't know child free was a thing a year ago. It's brand new for me to be like, oh, there's a group. So we're creating the community. It's essentially, here's for the women that are not moms to not be judged because we decided not to have kids or we couldn't.
I think that's great. And I like that you said that you don't even really focus on the child free. But what that said to me is there's a connection between people, right? I am a parent, so I connect to people who have had children. I can't connect to you without a child because I've had one, right? So there's an unspoken connection when you meet with people of like kind because you're never going to know. You go to a party and all of a sudden somebody's talking about childbirth and you're like, oh no, I don't know what that's like. So there's there's no connecting. So I love that you've got this group of people who are of the same lifestyle, and the focus isn't even on the two words, right? That defines the group. It's just that all of a sudden you found your tribe and they're women entrepreneurs who are living these really fabulous lives without children. It's a connection that is special.
For some of us, for the women that didn't choose not to have kids, like it's so hard. It breaks my heart watching people because I know they mean well, but they're like, Tiffany, why aren't you having kids? Well, I'm okay without having kids, but I know a lot of women that they really wanted kids and they couldn't for
Mhm.
whatever reason, whether it's they couldn't adopt or they couldn't because of their body. And it's heartbreaking. And when other women, which you think are going to build you up, are like, well, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you having kids? And you're like, if that's all you ever wanted to do, I can't fathom how just distressing that has to be thinking, I wanted kids, my body wouldn't do it. And now you're berating me because I didn't do it. And, how many times did I ask God? For some people that, for me, I was okay not, but for others, it wasn't their choice. And so I'm just looking forward to creating a safe space for these women that are often excluded. And I have to admit, because I found some like child free communities that have nothing to do with business. And there are a lot of nasty people there. So I left a lot of those groups. But I like entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs have a tendency to have a better mindset just overall and in general.
Well, I think that's because we think outside of the box and we have to be scrappy.
Yeah,
And yeah,
for sure,
yeah.
right?
I look at child-free people now and I think, wow, how wonderful that you've been able to drive your own life, right?
Yeah.
Because as a parent, we devote so much time, money, and sacrifice to raise our children to want more for them than we had, or give them more than we had, or just prepare them to be really good stewards in this world. It takes a lot of time, effort, energy, money. A lot of times for a lot of people, it becomes their job. And then when they children leave home, they've lost their connection to themselves, they've lost their purpose, and they've lost their connection to their spouse. With all of that said, I'm looking at that and going, well, I respect these people who are like enjoying a child-free life. It's every style, every choice we make has a trade-off, right?
Yeah. And it's funny
Yeah.
though, because you're mentioning that the number of empty nester women that think that this group is for them tells me that there needs to be an empty nester. And these don't go together, so I'm not implying that they go together, but I've had people in the same breath talk about like a silver, sexy and silver, or silver sneakers, or empty nester, or mature and feisty. Like there's call for someone out there, y'all, to create that empty nesters group for the people that are adjusting now that have all this time for their business. I'm not the one to start the empty nesters group, but there are a lot of women asking for it.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people fill their space after their children leave with travel. And, I knew somebody that actually went back to school and furthered her education. So, it's a time there's so many transitions in our life, and resilience is part of that because we have to we when one thing changes in our life, you had that pivotal moment with your mom, and I'm grateful that you had what looked like at first a terrible thing, right? You're being handed your last paycheck and you're done and you're like, "You know what? I'm going to choose the best life decision I can for myself right now is to spend this time with my mom," and then look at all of that bonus time you had with her. I mean, so sometimes we get these decisions or things that happen to us and they look at face value, they look like it's just sucky and terrible and awful and, the domino effect goes on, but then it shaped you and it enabled you to have this wonderful extra time, devoted, focused time with your mom. And then when she passed, I know a lot about grief. Did it help you with your mourning period? Having all that time that you had with her?
Definitely say that it would probably help. If you look at people, that lose someone suddenly, versus that. And the fact that not only did I have time to spend with her, but such massive amounts of quality time. Cause like my brother, my dad, and my sister, they still worked some. And I was the only one that wasn't working at all. Well, my grandmother. But the fact that like, I'd get there at 9 or 10 in the morning and I'd leave at 8 o'clock at night, and to be able to spend that time with her was so precious. And there is no, I don't look back at the end of the life and say, I wish I would have been able to have more time. I wish I had done this or that, because I was able to do that. And that's really what I want to do for my clients, is create for them that flexibility and freedom so that if life happens, we can stop and take the time to spend with our mom or our grandmother or our aunt or our dog or our cat, or heaven forbid, our adult kids or whatever it may be. And it's not that I think that you should live your life like every day is the last, but I think that when you live your life every day to the fullest, instead of it being about what I'm going to do one day, and I'm talking business and personal, y'all. And I still have 5 year and 10 year business and personal and stuff I want to do when I'm older. And I'm still thinking like it might be fun to go get a doctorate. I need a master's first. And who knows? Like I'm like, hey, I'm 46 and I'm ready to take on the next 46 years of my life, and let's go. Let's make the most of it. And if it's cut short, it is. If not, if I've lived every day to the max, then every day is a brilliant day to say, enjoyed what I did today. And I got to do an interview. I got to do my book club calls. I took a walk with my husband, had breakfast with him. You know what? If today was the last day, what a brilliant day this was.
And for me too, same thing, and making every day meaningful. Did I, when I go to bed at night, I love putting my head on the pillow, knowing that I did my best. I showed up for the people I needed to show up for, and I worked and achieved something. Or if it was a play day, I enjoyed myself and there was no guilt for that play day. I do schedule play. So I'm a Stephen Covey junkie.
Yeah.
So I have I have the weekly plan. I have the daily priorities, and then I also do weekly goal planning. So
Nice.
I chunk up my goals every week. So they spell out, what the big goal is, right? At the
Mhm.
end of the year or whatever. Those are the systems that I have in place. And so for example, Tuesday is golf day in my community. And so I I don't schedule any appointments on Tuesdays. That's my appointment free day. I can do whatever I want in the morning. If I choose to work in the morning, that's my choice. But I definitely have my exercise time in there. And what you might not remember is I'm recovering from a fractured spine. So I haven't gotten myself back onto the tennis court 3 days a week for 2 hours a day, but in another month, I will be.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna have Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings scheduled out so that those nothing interferes with that time because that is holy to me.
Yes. And holding it in a holy space is what more people need to do when it comes to their calendar. Because what most people do is put all the other "Bleh," and all the others on their calendar and they come last. And to me, we are most important. We need to go in first and build the rest around it.
Yes. Yes, and that also includes scheduling time with our spouse or partner.
Yes. Yes.
We have to make those special people or children, whoever is close
Yeah.
to us, right? Family members, friends. We have to nurture our relationships, and we do that by making space in the calendar and putting those in there.
Yeah. I tell my people, because I am very well scheduled, because I'm never busy, because busy is overwhelmed for your system. So I'm always well scheduled. But sometimes I'm well scheduled far in advance. Somebody was asking me something, and I'm like, January. And they're like, seriously? I'm like, look, you're asking for a big chunk of time, and it's the holidays. And I've got
Right.
2 travel weeks plus Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. I'm like, of the 7 weeks, I have 2 weeks where I'm working 5 days. The others are 2 to 3 day weeks. I'm like, I just don't have the time. They're like, well, we can work in the evening. I'm like, well, you may want to work in the evening. That is not me. I have 2 book clubs, one that meets Mondays at 4 and one that meets Wednesday at 4:15. Those are the only 2 appointments that are regularly scheduled after 4 p.m. because my vision is 10 a.m. start, 4 p.m. in. At the end of 2026, the goal is it's Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 4. That's my schedule. So 2026, I'm getting rid of those Mondays. So I'm just slowly carving it out. And I think that's what we want to do as we're talking about, having the resilience and what we're doing and also creating the life that we want. So as we begin to carve out, an extra few minutes here, an extra few minutes there, time for tennis, time for golf, time for weightlifting or reading or whatever it may be.
Yes, and that's one of the things 2 things I wanna do in 2026 as far as my schedule goes.
Hmm.
In addition to the other things like tennis I'm putting back into my schedule is reading an actual book. I listen to Audible a lot, but I wanna read a tangible book. I wanna hold it and turn the page, and I want to put together a puzzle. So, we have puzzle showdowns in my community, and we it's a race. My partner different partner and I, 2 times, we've come in 2nd, both both times, and I'm like, "I'm so close."
I've seen that on TV once or twice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're like competitive puzzlers. I did not know that was a thing until very recently.
Yeah, we do a 300 it's a short puzzle or a small puzzle, 300-piece puzzle, and it's timed, and it's partners of 2, and the goal is to be done under 90 minutes, and we have done under 90 minutes. The winner has come in under 90 minutes, so and it's you all get the same puzzle, so it's really fun, and that's a great thing, people are like, "Really? You're taking time out of your day to do a puzzle?" Why? Well, because it's different. It's challenging my brain in a different way. It's a creative outlet. I mean, we have to do different things. We have to get out of our comfort zone and do things that challenge our brain and, foster that creativity. Field
Definitely.
trips. I like field trips. Are you familiar with the artist's way?
Remind me.
Hold on.
Maybe.
It's the complete artist's way. This is Creativity as a Spiritual Practice by Julia Cameron. And this is can you
Yeah,
see it?
no. Yeah.
Okay. There. This is all 3 of her works, The Artist's Way, Walking This World, and Finding Water. And The Artist's Way, it is 12 weeks. And
Huh?
every week there are activities, and it really encourages you to get out and make a field trip. Go to a museum, go to a botanic garden, go to a park, go somewhere different. It's an exercise in expanding our world, expanding our horizons, and yet making it a priority and putting it in our list because it's part of building us up and making us strong so that when life's turbulence, like what I call the shit that happens in life, you know, when that
Yeah, no, I'm
happens,
not familiar.
yeah,
All right.
and we're strong. And so I recommend this. This is, like I said, Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. And I think a therapist recommended it for me many, many, many years ago. And I have it on my table, and I was dusting the other day, and I'm like, I need to revisit this. So I'm going to do the Artist's Way program again, like 15 years later, because I'm like, oh, I remember how great I felt when I did it. I mean, so part of resilience is what can we do to make ourselves stronger so that we're behind the 8 ball or crumpled to our knees or pick ourselves up off the floor so that we can withstand that turbulence that comes our way?
Okay, so I want to share one of my favorite ways to free up some time. And this is something that will be harder for some than others. And it has to do with those lovely electronic devices. And so, what I encourage you to do with your smartphone is to turn off all notifications that are not necessary. And so, when people say, how do you do that? I just say, go to AI, go to Google, go to YouTube. How do I turn off notifications for blah, 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 whatever your phone is? And so I only get it to ding or flash any of that if it's a text message or a phone call. Emails, no noise. Facebook, no flashing. WhatsApp, Slack, Instagram, YouTube, blah 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 blah. The only thing that goes off, well, I take that back because also ring, but ring because it doesn't go often. I don't get a lot of people showing up at my house. For those of you, that's my doorbell. So that's it. Phone, text. Because to me, it's not urgent or important. Now, if you're like waiting for an urgent email occasionally, or you need it on for certain times, sure, you could change it if need be for time periods. But I turn off any non essential notifications. And what's really interesting, at least I know on the Apple, is it will show you, you can go in and it will show you what do you pick up first? What app do you open? How much time you spend on each app? And it will actually dive in and say, you're spending 2 hours on your phone. You're spending 5 hours on your phone a day. And you can't just take it at what it says. Cause like for a while there, I was spending 6 hours a day on the phone and people are like, oh my gosh, that's bad. But I used it as a clock. Well, I went out and got me a regular clock now. So I have a clock that just sits here. So now I'm down to like, okay, I'm on my phone an hour a day. That works. So numbers aren't just data. Like we have to look at what it says, but too often people are spending so many hours on their phone, their games. They don't realize how much time they spend messaging or playing Candy Crush. And so I think that an easy way to begin is to turn off anything that you don't need, delete the apps that suck your time, check it out if your phone doesn't track. I know that there's apps made for all of them, but this is probably one of the easiest ways to save some time. And I'll tell you what, your brain loves it when you get off the screen. And so you will find, even if you do nothing else than spend less time on the phone, your resilience bandwidth is going to go up dramatically.
Yeah, I love that. And, one of the things that hurts me sometimes is I listen to Audible. And so it's like, you were on your screen time was such and such. And I'm like, but I look and I'm like, but I was listening and I was walking. So it wasn't really, I wasn't like,
Yeah. Yeah. Three, you've meditated 3 hours this week. I'm like, but that's good phone time.
right. We have to look at the context. Yes. In light of that, there is a free resource that Tiffany is giving anyone who wants one, and it is called 4.5 Easy Ways for More Free Time.
Yeah. So it's just 4.5 easy tips. So I did give you one already, which is turn off the notification, but it's 3.5 other easy ways for you to save time so you can enjoy your life more, whether you want to nap or sleep more, read more books, play more tennis or golf, or maybe just spend time with your clients, loving on them or loving on the dogs, loving on the kids, or loving on yourself and leaving everyone else away.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. We've talked about a lot of different fun topics, and I love the easy tips. I love the concept of the helping us make better decisions that are more meaningful to our lives, the life filtering decisions. So thanks for sharing that with the audience here today. And I want to remind every one of you that Once a month, I hold this free live training on resilience. It's an open-ended Q&A. It's interactive. You can ask me anything. I don't hold anything back. I don't sugarcoat anything. It's a free space. So I hope that you'll come and join me in one of these live sessions. And until next time, be real, be resilient, reclaim your life. Thanks so much, Tiffany. Ciao.